Welcome to the world premiere of Love at Second Sight. It's been absolutely delightful working with the entire team. My name is Am Johal. I'm director of SFU's Vancity Office of Community Engagement. We do about 100 public events a year, and it's always great when really interesting ideas like this one come in and we get to host it with a wonderful group of community partners. I wanted to begin by acknowledging that we're on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh. And we have a great program for you, which is going to be introduced. So I'm going to get right on to the show. So please join me with a really warm round of applause for David Roche and Marlena Blavin.
So thank you for being here. You know, you feel really good. We're up here pretty much overwhelmed with gratitude. First of all, thank you to SFU Woodbridge for graciously hosting this, to Ann, Melissa, Shana, Kate, all the great people up in the booth who are making this all work. That's the way it works. Thank you to Dar Raphael, who's been a stalwart in, what's her title, event manager. And she's carried us through lots of difficult, stressy times. Here's Liz, interpreter. We've had a chance to work together a number of times. It's great to be on the same stage with her. And I want to thank other people who made this all happen. It started, I think, with Lindsay Adams, who got who got us fired up on Kickstarter and nursed us through a long period and successful period of raising money to make this happen. Joanne Smith, she's in California. She's our web person and person who solves tech mysteries. And Lisa Joy Trick, who came aboard later and is just like a genius. No other word to describe her. Who else do we have, honey?
Lindsay did the logo.
Yeah, oh, Lindsay did the logo, too. So thanks, Lindsay, for that. And you see me and Marlena in the video with the kids, but it's not, you know, we're just like pictures up there. The person who made this work of art is our producer and director, Joe Strite. And when you see the video, you'll see this like seamless, beautiful editing from Shane Ruggiero. And I also want to thank all the people who are volunteering to help us tonight, and sales and all that kind of stuff. Is there anything you want to add, hon?
I'm just thrilled. We will have more. It's just incredible to look out at this sea of love and all the support that we've gotten from so many people to make this project happen. Thank you. See, I'm not going to be able to talk.
The truth is that Marlena started this in Vancouver in 1998 when she first told the story of Love at Second Sight. And for the last 3 years we've been working on this, she's been the driver. So she's the one who really gets the credit for making things happen. And for all of you, I believe that we are right now in the heart of Vancouver. That is you. You form the heart of Vancouver, the living, breathing heart, because of who you are, because of what you have done, because of what you are going to do, It feels so good to have you as allies and as an audience. So, Rizzo Teague was from the Vancouver Adapted Music Society, Dave, Jim, and Kurt, and they've been playing the house music. Thank you, guys. You start us off with a couple of songs, and Vancouver Adapted Music Society also is a sponsor of us in making this happen, too. So, hit it! Rizzo Teague. One more? Good. One more, guys. Yeah, let's do it, guys. Rizzo Teague, thank you. All good. Okay. Next, we have, ready, guys? Please welcome Jerry Hills and Ann Mortifee.
I'm going to talk about, we're going to sing a song. It's called the Woman's Warrior Song. It's also called the Woman's Honor Song, and it was written by a woman in British Columbia, and it's sung all over the place, and it's quite soulful and joyful. So here we go. Go ahead. No, you start. Okay. Hey, hey, no. Hey, no. Hey, 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 Yaki-o, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o, hey, 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 Yaki-o, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o, Yaki-o, hey, hey, Yaki-o.
Thank you. Thank you, Ann and Jerry. Please welcome Jeffrey Renn.
This is a poem called Second Sight by David White. Sometimes you need the ocean light and colors you've never seen before painted through an evening sky. Sometimes you need your God to be a simple invitation, not a telling word of wisdom. Sometimes you need only the first shyness that comes from being shown things far beyond your understanding, so that you can fly and be free by being still. By being still. And by being still here. And then there are times you need to be brought to ground by touch alone. By touch alone. And to know those arms around you and to make your home in this world just by being wanted. To see those eyes looking back at you as eyes should see you at last. Seeing you as you always wanted to be seen. Seeing you as you yourself always wanted to see the world.
Come on, guys. You know, Marlena and I know very well that we are not alone in what we do. You heard the many thanks that I gave. We know that looking out at you, like I said, we know what you do. We know who you are in the world. I know myself as a performer. I've been carried on the shoulder. I've been carried on the shoulders of other people for 25 years. Love at Second Sight is about community and about inclusion. Marlena and I have with out at Vancity and Vicky Kanak for a number of years, particularly in their effort called Thinking Like a Movement. And so in homage to them and the work that they have led us in, we're presenting the Moments of Grace storytellers. Their bios are all in the program. You can read them. You can say hello to them afterwards. But the thing I want you to know that each one of them is an activist, is a truth teller, is making a mark in the world. So they're going to share very brief stories about moments of grace or times someone took a second look at them or they took a second look at someone else. So please, we'll start with Ani Peacock. Please welcome Ani.
Thank you, David and Marlena, for inviting me here to join your impressive guests and for SFU for this amazing space. For 20 plus years, I have worked as a community weaver, and in the last 6 years, I devoted my work to address the issue of social isolation, their cause and effect. Through this work that I have met Lily, an 87-year-old from mainland China who lived here for more than 3 decades ago. And like many immigrants, Lily spent all her life raising a family. Right away, I sensed her kindness, gentleness, and her shyness. Lily's hair is gray and her skin is wrinkled and checkered with freckles. Our first meeting, she could hardly form a sentence in English. So we used hand signals and our body language to convey what we wanted to say to each other. For example, eating, walking, or dancing. It reminded me when my mother came to visit me and my husband, who is a Caucasian, would use hand signals to communicate with each other. And I just love watching them. Unknown to me at that time, that Lily is desperately wanting to learn to speak in English. For those of us whose English is a second language, we know how hard it is to learn. Now imagine an 87-year-old trying their hardest to learn it. But Lily is determined. So she enrolled at Beyond the Conversation for 20 weeks. The focus of Beyond the Conversation program is to build deeper relationship and community support with each other using English as a vehicle, a borrowed concept from English Conversation Circle. For many seniors, this is the best part of their day that they look forward to because they are learning things that they could integrate into their daily conversations. Laughter is very much part of their day. Both facilitators and participants are building friendships, and that is how we experience success in early on, which I believe the key in addressing social isolation. Lily attended her classes faithfully in our South Vancouver location. Every week, she is learning new vocabulary and basic sentences like, "Excuse me, miss, how much does this carrots cost?" Or, "Doctor, I don't feel well today." And when they're lost, asking for direction is an important tool to have, a basic skill that you and I are taking for granted. But for those others like Lily, it is a world of freedom and growth. After the 20th weeks, we celebrated the group's accomplishments. And Lily hurriedly and excitedly came to me, took my hands and held it tightly and said, Teacher, me went to English doctor alone. No child with me. Ask doctor what medicine to take for illness." And I was so taken by Lily's courage to visit her doctor alone. that all of the sudden I noticed her gaze. Her eyes sparkled, full of hope, courage, and proud of herself. And I saw something that makes Lily very special. Lily, at that time, she was so excited. And of course, I was excited too. My voice so happy and excited, I said, Lily, that is so wonderful. Lily, and before I can say, I'm proud of you, she signaled me to stop. I waited, and I watched her turn on her hearing aid. Because without it, she could not hear in both ears. As Lily's world expanded and saw her self-confidence and independence, I imagined her soaring high like an eagle. And as she thanked me, followed by embrace, I was reminded again that the best and strongest relationships I've ever made is when the focus is on who the person is and what makes them unique and their special part of this big picture. Thanks to the 100 of Lilies out there that benefited our program, I swear that day I felt 6 feet taller. Thank you.
Please welcome Michael Oswald.
This story about taking a second look, really my mom's, even though it happened to me. But I was only 6, and I didn't remember anything. So she gave me her story. I've told my own story in different ways. But tonight, I give you this abridged version of events. I was born with FASD, fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, because my birth mom drank while she was pregnant with me. I had difficulty with memory, time and money management, impulse control, anger issues, RAR, and an alphabet soup of diagnoses. Sometimes I wonder how I'm able to do anything else. My family of origin struggled with their own developmental disabilities, as well as drug and alcohol use. So they had difficulty raising me. In fact, I was in and out of foster care many times till the age of 4. Yet still, I ended up back with my birth family. When I was in grade 1, I was at Ogden School, where Miss Hallett was my vice principal and my special needs teacher. She knew about my situation and noticed things when I came into school, such as reeking of urine and smoke, constantly falling down and screaming, and always curling up in the oddest of places and going to sleep. Eventually, my stressful situation resulted in me being surrendered by my family to the care of Children's Aid Society and placed into an emergency care home. It was during this time that Miss Hallett met often with my social worker, Edie, and they kept each other appraised of my circumstances. After many weeks, Edie came to Miss Hallett and said that they could find no one to care for me full time. Miss Hallett said, without a second thought, that she'd take me in. Unfortunately, Edie said no. Wasn't possible. Miss Hallett wasn't married and didn't have a partner. And single parents should not be able to care for foster children. But this is a story about second looks and moments of grace, is it not? Children's Day Society took a second look at their policy and realized that if they followed protocol, they'd be denying me a loving home. And besides, they had nowhere else to place me. No fault of my own. So Edie, a few days later, Edie came to Miss Hallett and said she could become my foster mom. That began a whole new lease on life for me. Over the years, I've become an author, an athlete, a reporter, and sometimes a storyteller. And I'm not saying it's been sunshine and roses since then, but I know I'm lucky to have a mom like Helen. Thank you.
And next, Lauren Stinson.
Hello, can everyone hear me all right? Yeah. So this story is about a fellow co-worker of mine that I took a second look at. And it's about how jaded I am as a person. When it comes to my relationship with able-bodied people, because I'm a disabled person, I can say my perspective is slightly jaded because of the experiences I had. Now, growing up as a disabled youth, it was very difficult to be integrated into kind of the able-bodied general kind of classroom and society. Like, kids never bullied you, but they had the tendency to more just avoid you, and you kind of got caught up in this kind of structure of isolation. So, therefore, I didn't have many able-bodied friends. And most of the time, when you have interactions with able-bodied people, it's in the kind of this power structure that's created in a pay-based system. Example, CECL workers, counselors, teachers, support staff, and that's your main connection to able-bodied people and your relationships with them. Now, many of my able-bodied people I've got to know over the years. That I've known through like programs or camps or whatnot. They all say they're going to continue the relationship afterwards, or hang out with you afterwards or whatnot, but they rarely ever do. And so it kind of comes because it happens over and over again. There's this kind of wave of that your relationship is just as good as the money they're being paid, or disabled people look really good on a resume. So there's that. So I had this coworker, and she's a young coworker, chipper and energetic, and she would like say, "I'll do anything. I'll move, mountains for you. I'll, get that done." And in my jaded head, I was like, "Oh, she's just being overly nice because she's new and she's young, and you're supposed to be overly nice to disabled people." So, right? You know what I'm talking about. So, we were both Harry Potter fans, and yeah. And I always said, "Oh, you're such a Hufflepuff," because she was so kind. And she's like, "No, I'm a Gryffindor. I'm determined." I'm like, No. You are a Hufflepuff. It's just no getting around it. So soon she left our work, and she moved on to other things. And she said, me and my coworker run a support group. She's actually here. And I talked, her name's Bav, by the way. I should name her. Bav said she would come back to our support group. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And Bav's like, no, I'm going to put it in my calendar. I'm coming. I'm like, okay. And so the morning of the session that she said she would come to after she left our work, she texted me and said, oh, I have errands to do. I might be late. So, of course, I was like, okay, well, I guess she's not coming. You know, they normally don't come. So I wasn't really surprised by this random text message. But then, as the session started, she wasn't there. And the minutes ticked by, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, I guess she's not coming. But she did come, and she, I would like to say, you know, came through the door like Superman, but our session space is tiny, and most of our people that come to our sessions are in wheelchairs, so she can't really bound through any doors, but she, you know, weaved through the crowd of wheelchairs and, you know, stood next to me and was like, I made it. I'm like, wow, you're here. And she's like, you know, of course I'm here. I wanted to support you guys in your support group. And she put her hand on my shoulder, and I realized in that moment that she wasn't only a Gryffindor because she was brave and, you know, was determined to actually come to our support group. She was a true friend that didn't see me for a paycheck, you know? And so I got to see that you could have a relationship with an able-bodied person that's not based around their job.
That was fantastic, Lauren. Thank you. Again, Jerry Hills.
I was adopted at birth and didn't know anything about my birth family until we in British Columbia were allowed to get information in November 15th, 1996. So I was born in 51, and for 48 years I knew nothing. I found out that I was one of 5 kids that were taken away by Catholic Children's Aid at birth. I found over 12 years, 4 of us found each other, and there was one more to go. And this person, Rose, our sister, my sister, she didn't get adopted. She got lost in the foster system. And she never had a family. She moved from place to place. I found this out when we met. It was June 2012, and our nephew looked up Rose Marie Davison in the computer, and there she was. She looked like me. She sounded like me, and she was on a 32-second video made by Vandu. They keep track of what the cops do to the people, and this was November of 2009, just before the Vancouver Winter Games, and they were moving First Nations homeless people on. They didn't look good on international television. And on this video, this woman is swaying like I do and holding a sign that says Rosemary Davison, crime, jaywalking, fine $173. And she's speaking and saying, well, I know I was a bit out of it, but I got taken down by 2 cops and I'd only stepped 2 feet off the sidewalk. And she said, I'm homeless and I'm on disability. How am I going to pay this? I was so impressed. I knew she was my sister, and she was an activist homeless and on disability, and she's taking care of the underdogs. Very, very amazing. But now, when we found her on the computer, this was full 3.5 years later. Is she going to be alive? How am I going to find her? I knew she would lived in the downtown east side. So from that video, my friend made a few little posters, 5 by 7, with her face and the name Rose Davison. Please call your sister, Jerry, and the phone number on the Sunshine Coast. And I went down every Thursday morning for a month until I was too ill to do it. And I put them up everywhere. Well, you can't put them on the poles because the cops take them down. You can't put them up many places, but I went to Insight, which was very insightful. And I went to the Women's Downtown East Center, which was beautiful. And it was now September, and there had been no word from Rose. So I took her picture off my fridge, and I said to my husband, I'm never going to find her. 8 days later, a social worker calls, and she's in the same room as my sister Rose. And she's going to put together a meeting. We're going to meet. It didn't happen. It was October 19th, and we didn't meet till December 12th. And we talked on the phone, and she said, now, where did that name Davison come from? Did that come from some stupid foster home? And I said, no, honey, no. That's our grandfather's name. Oh, and I got to tell her our mom's name, and our Auntie Pearl was still alive out in Abbotsford, and her 2 other sisters, and her brother and cousins. This was lovely. This was just perfect. And then it came time to meeting her, and I was so nervous. So I took the bus from the Sunshine Coast off the ferry, and I made it down to East Pender in Maine to that Waves coffee shop, and I run in and I go, am I late? Have I missed them? And I hear a voice, Jerry, and it was a social worker. And I said, yes, yes. And then I hear this little voice, and there's a person like this tall, and she is so thin. She does not look like she did in November of 2009. She had deteriorated so much. She was like a broken little person who had just been carried out of Auschwitz at the very end. It was shocking, it was scary, and she was filthy. She was basically homeless at that time, and she was covered in bed bug sores, and her hair was all matted. And I looked at her hands, and she had beautiful nails, and it was black. Her skin was black with dirt, and she said, hi, I'm Rose. And I said, oh, honey, I'm your sister, Jerry. She turned and twirled and said, I have no one. I've never had anyone. I'm all alone. And I said, okay. So my moment of grace is taking into my body my broken sister. And we just held each other, and she sobbed. And I cooed and said, it's okay, it's okay. You'll meet your auntie, you'll meet your sisters, it's okay. And she says the same thing, that at that moment, it was like a spiritual moment, but it was physical. And our hearts we bonded like it was 2 pieces of glass just bonding together. And later on, she has said, that was Mom, that was our mother. And we'll never forget that hug. And so taking in what you're not really, want to do, we can all have moments of grace. Thank you very much.
And next, my daughter, Amy Rose.
Hi, yes, I'm Amy Roche, and David Roche is my father, and I'm just so proud and honored to be here tonight on this very special occasion for them, and yeah, it's just really It's so special. Thank you. So when I was about 5 years old, I was living in San Francisco, and I was attending a school, a little sort of progressive school called Synergy. Yeah. You can just sink that in. Yeah, Synergy. I had a lot of special memories from Synergy, as you can imagine. One of them that's remarkably vivid to me is one day when my father had dropped me off at school and I went off to play, I heard a couple other children who had seen my father saying, "Why does he look that way? What's wrong with his face? What's the matter with him? Did you see his face?" And it sounds kind of crazy to say it now, but I really had no idea what they were talking about. At that point in my life, I had never noticed anything about my father's face. So you can imagine, when my father picked me up after school, it was the first thing on my mind. And as we were walking down Castro Street, walking back home, I turned to him and I said, "Daddy, what were these kids talking about? They were saying there was something wrong with your face? Do you know what that could mean?" And of course, he explained to me about the overgrowth of blood vessels in his neck and his head, and how he'd been through a series of medical treatments which had really altered his appearance. And then that was distinguished from me, and I could see it for the first time. So looking back on that 40-some-odd years later, I see that as children, we're born into the world with this really lovely, open, gracious state of not knowing. And that as we begin to gain knowledge, that's very important knowledge, learning, that it also starts to constrain our views, right? It starts to have an impact on how people can show up for us in life. I'm an early childhood educator. I work at Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana. And I get the really joyous opportunity every day to get to see things anew in this sort of childlike wonder way where a piece of gravel on the ground might be like a precious stone, And so I think it's through work like Love at Second Sight that we can take inspiration and look at ourselves again, look at others again, and we can really help children and the children in all of us help to sustain that beautiful, precious, open state that is our birthright. Thank you.
Moments of Grace, Storytellers. That was nice, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really nice. Next, with another song, you'll say it, Ann Mortifee. Thank you, Ann.
I think it's so profoundly moving to see all of what so many of us are wanting to do. And I was trying to think of what song would be the right one. And it feels like it's about it being a healing journey. This is a healing journey. This is a sacred path, a path that leads us inward to dance the sacred dance. This is a healing journey. We walk it one by one, each woman and each man alone, to the sound of the distant drum. This is a healing journey. It winds a stormy path through fear and joy and anger, sorrows from the past. This is a healing journey. But when the soul is clear, you can hear the winds that rustle as heaven's breath draws near. Breathe into the sorrow, breathe into the tears, breathe into the anger, breathe into the fear, breathe into the loneliness, breathe into the joy, breathe in with the breath of life, and let your heart take voice. This is a healing journey, from blindness into sight, through the valley of uncertainty, where darkness it turns to light. This is a healing journey. It is the gift of nature's way to open up our hearts to see the theme within the play. And this is a healing journey. This is a healing journey. This is a healing journey. A healing journey. Oh, this is a healing journey. We are on a healing journey.
Woo! Yeah. Bravo! Love at Second Sight started here in Vancouver, the Heart of Vancouver, in 1998. David was doing a keynote speech for a conference of a syndrome called Nagar-Miller syndrome. And he said, "Why don't you come with me to Vancouver? We'll make a holiday out of it." Well, who could resist? So we went to the dinner before Friday night. The conference started on Saturday. And Nagar-Miller syndrome is a congenital birth situation where kids, infants, are born with no eyelids many times, no jaw. They can have flipper limbs or no limbs at all. At that dinner, I looked around, and the room was swarming with these gorgeous children. Some of them were limping along. Bridget was powerful at 9. She could be the CEO of a company, telling the kids where to go. Cyrus was this tiny little boy with no arms, and he had the most infectious, twinkly smile. I felt like I was in a sea of love and beauty. I fell in love with those kids. The next morning, 6 a.m., Marlena, get up. I want you to do the keynote with me. You got to be kidding. I'm not doing any keynote with you. No, do it. I want you to do it. I thought, I've never done a keynote. I'm not a speaker. And it's not kosher for a keynote speaker to bring his wife up on stage like that. You know. But something inside just, and to be honest, I was just too sleepy. You know. Okay, I'll do it. So at 8:30, David begins his talk, and then he introduces me. And I looked out at a room, 250 parents. I had no idea what I was going to say. No idea at all. And I just waited. And I saw Cyrus with that infectious smile. And I told the story. It came to me of what it was like when I first met David, the first time I met him. And somehow I felt safe that I admitted that the first time I saw David's face, I was repulsed. I was shocked, and it made me feel queasy. And I felt this tinge of shame and embarrassment as I looked out like this. But I kept going. The story unfolded. And as I ended and looked out at those 250 parents, they were locked in. A pin could drop in that room. And I said, you know, I think I saw David's soul. Well, the parents didn't want to leave. They didn't want to go to the breakout groups. What they wanted to do for the next hour was tell their stories about what it meant to see their children's soul and how they hoped that other people would see him. And that's how Love at Second Sight began. Thank you. The first time I met David, I did not see his face. I heard his voice. We were both taking a class at our local hospital, learning to give massages as volunteers for people who were ill and critically ill. I had come late to the class, so I didn't meet any of the students. And I found myself in a small hospital room with 2 beds and a curtain drawn between them. You ever seen a room like that? I was lying in the hospital bed getting a foot massage from my partner. I started to relax. The sounds of the hospital just faded away. And I heard this wonderful, low, deep voice from the other side of the curtain, and it gave me goosebumps. But it wasn't just the sound or the quality of his voice that stirred my soul so deeply. It was who he was. It was what he was saying to his partner and the way he would listen to what she had to say. I started to become hypnotized and imagined a man about 6 feet tall, curly brown hair, well-muscled bodies, wearing tight blue jeans and cowboy boots. It was time to change partners, and I wanted to meet him. So I stepped up to the curtain that separated us. I pulled it open. Ooh. All I saw was the left side of David's face, and it startled me. Ooh. You know what I did? I turned and I walked away.
I want you to stare at my face today. I'm going to talk about what it's like to look different and to feel different, especially when I was about your age. So I need some support. I need some encouragement. Here's what I want. When I count to 3 and point, I want all of you to say, "What happened to your face?" Can you do that? 1, 2, 3.
What happened to your face?
Thank you. What you see on the left side of my face and neck, about down to here, is a birth difference, not a birth defect. What I'm saying is, it's not something wrong, it's just unique, it's just different, okay? When I was a year old, still a tiny baby, the whole bottom part of my face blossomed into what looked like a bunch of grapes. I had the first of many operations. The lower part of my mouth and my lower lip was cut off. I had many other operations, procedures. I had heavy radiation therapy that caused the lower part of my face to stop growing, and I lost all my teeth. So, I was pretty much born with this face. And for most of my life, I felt ashamed of the way I look. It's taken me a long time to realize that my face is actually a gift. A gift. Not the kind of gift I was real excited about, okay? I mean, is this the kind of gift that you open and the first thing you say is, "Ah, that's awesome! How did you know what I wanted?" No, this is the kind of gift that you open and the first thing you say is, "Oh, you shouldn't have."
Questions?
Yeah, we have time for a couple, 3 questions. We're running a little late, and we want to have a reception to the theme song. Yes, it's coming. Yes. So, anybody has anything they want to ask, or
First of all, thank you. That was a wonderful experience to see what you guys are doing out in the community. And I'm just curious how you're going to get this film out to kids and onto whatever, broadcast it, because I think it's really powerful.
No. We're asking you. Okay. Because what's in your hearts right now, we want you to bring that into the world. And the film has a distributor, VHX TV. You can find out everything at our website, loveatsecondsight.org. Okay. We have for sale a little case that has a USB card inside of it. And on that card is the film that you just saw, a version without subtitles, the fantastic little 2-minute trailer that people love, a user's guide that can be very helpful in classrooms or other social situations, and the song, which you're going to hear in a couple minutes, which will just like, you'll go, ah, like that. Yeah, like that, like the kids do. And that little case is, we have some little cards in there that you can give the fans to give them a 20% discount on the film. It tells you how to order it. We're selling that. It's $30 US. Okay? So that's what, like 36 Canadian. But tonight, so that's for $20, you get the whole package. Okay? And so that's like half off. That's for you because you so. Sort of getting it out, and it's all the kind of things that we learned from Joanne and from Lindsay and from Lisa Joy. It's going to be a lot social media, but you have to do it. Please tell us that you are going to share it with people. Okay, yeah. Now come on, I want to hear it. Yeah. Thank you for volunteering. So did that answer your question? And the song is available on CD. It will be in a few days anyway. So and that means you go to iTunes and you can get it. Love it. It's called Take a Second Look.
No, Love at Second Sight. Oh, Take a Second. Oh
yeah.
Well. Kate.
My question, this is phenomenal and a tremendous gift. And I'm just moved. Seeing those children is just astounding and heartwarming. But do you guys ever present to adults with the same idea? And are you open to speaking engagements?
I've been open to speaking engagements for 25 years, so yes, I am. And we're doing it together. Yeah, we will. And definitely to adults. I mean, when you see it, it's the kids, but really it's universal, okay? Like that was what Moments of Grace, Storytellers was about too. It's all of us. Okay. Thank you, Kate. One more. Way back. Oh, okay.
I just want to thank the two of you for the gift of love that the two of you have brought to all of us. And what we've shared tonight represents so much of the journey, of your personal journey. And all of us have been gifted. This is love at second sight, but there is love that has come into this room tonight. And I just so appreciate what the two of you have brought together and wish to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work behind the scenes that you've done that have brought this. And it's just a wonderful burst that's going out from this, and I'm so thankful to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
Greg. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Where is Greg Markham? Greg, I need you. Good. We're going to be partnering with a lot of people, but our main partner that we are working on developing tonight is Adult Face International, which has been working for, how many years? Like at least 20, 25 years.
30, 40, I'm not entirely sure the exact number.
You don't even learn yet, no. And,
nope.
and Greg has been active with Adult Face for a number of years. He's at an information table, which we'd love you to stop by afterwards, and he's going to tell a little bit about it. Greg, please, Greg Markham. Okay, I'm sitting down now.
All right. Well, unlike David, I'm not a storyteller, but I'm going to try my best for a couple minutes here. My name's Greg Markham, and I was invited here by David to represent About Face. For those of you who don't know, About Face is a non-for-profit organization that provides social and emotional support and information to individuals and their families who have facial differences. About Face supports people of all ages, including kids, teens, parents, and families with congenital and acquired facial differences. Congenital being something you were born with, and acquired being something that happened after you were born, like a dog bite, or a burn scar, or a trauma, or something of that effect. About Face has a whole bunch of different programs for the whole age range of people, parents, and anybody who is supporting somebody with a facial difference. They include school programs, new parent programs and workshops, parent and adult conference calls, peer-to-peer networking, and a bunch of leadership adult retreats, and a program that we call Camp Trailblazers. Camp Trailblazers is one of our core programs, and it's offered in 5 provinces across Canada for youth ages 10 to 18. We've had the privilege of having David attend our camp for the last 2 years as a volunteer, which has been just fantastic. He does storytelling sessions for us as well. Basically, the camp is for youth to be able to meet other people going through the same experiences that they are, giving them the confidence and courage and resilience to be themselves in a supportive environment, and a place where they're free to be without fear of judgment from others. I personally became involved in About Face in 2007 when I attended Camp Trailblazers for the first time in BC. Since then, I haven't missed a camp. I keep going back as a volunteer every year, and I've also traveled to Ontario to attend their camp there, which is where it started. About Face has had a very positive impact on my life, and because of that, I actively volunteer as an ambassador, and I'd be happy to share more information with anybody interested at our table, which is just outside behind the sound booth, right after the show. And I'd like to thank David for putting this on, for hosting About Face here, giving us this little plug, and for this fantastic documentary that I can't wait to walk away with. Thank you very much.